There's something powerful about testimony. Remember, we're talking about people that come out of the great revival, and now we learn that they overcame him by the power of the blood and the word of their testimony. Testimonies are often connected to revivals. People will stand up and talk about when they gave their lives to Christ and how they just gave their lives to Jesus. And there's something about those testimonies that stirs the heart of those who do not believe, of those who have never made a decision, that perhaps it can happen to me. That as I gave my life to Christ when I was 14 years old, my father had died only a few months before. I came out of my father was abusive. My father died of Lou Gehrig's disease. He was 6'1", 220. When he died, he weighed 98 pounds and was in a wheelchair. Now, he was heavy-handed in his discipline, and that might be being polite. It was not uncommon after getting the belt to have bruises on my back and on my arm because of where my dad would grab me and where my dad would beat me. My sister and me would compare our bruises on the back of our thighs and on our backs after we had gotten it by our dad. My dad had said to me, now he had Lou Gehrig's, he knew he was going to die, but I was probably 12 years old. He died when I was 14, so I was probably 12 years old when he said this to me. He sat me down, he shook his fist at me. He said, I'm going to make you a man. I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm 12. But now I know he meant I'm going to make you a man before I die. So he became heavy-handed. When my mom walked in the house when my father died, she was at the hospital, she walked in, she didn't tell us he died, but I could tell. And the thought I had, think of this for a son for his dad. The thought I had, good. Good. That's the thought I had. Now a little bit later on, I really wanted to have my father. By the time I got to my late teens. But as a 14-year-old, my thought was, he's not around anymore, and that's a good thing. And if you are any way abusive towards your children, if you are heavy-handed, look, discipline's a good thing. But don't have it be when you die, your child says, good. I'm glad they're out of here. It was a few months later that I found myself in church. The loss of my father, my family kind of going, my mom trying to figure out what she's going to do. There's 3 of us. I'm 14, my sister's 16. She's going a little crazy. I have a 7-year-old little sister. And somebody asked me at church, are you going to heaven? And I say, yeah, I'm going to heaven. And they say, how come? Because I believe in God. He said, does the devil believe in God? I said, yeah. He said, is the devil going to heaven? I said, no. He said, then it takes more than just believing he exists, doesn't it? You've got to give your life to him. You've got to receive him. And I prayed a prayer like I lead you guys in often, and Christ came into my life, and he transformed me. I used to think that was the most boring testimony of all testimonies. I grew up in church. I was baptized in Methodist. I grew up in the Methodist church, and then I gave my life to Jesus. But I found when I tell that story that I thought was not a powerful testimony at all, that God uses it to touch people's lives. And people come to Christ when testimonies are told. Tell your testimony often. Let people know. Ask other believers, what's your testimony? What did Christ do? How did you get saved? And if you don't have a testimony, then get a testimony. Because we overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.